Hey, what's going on, everybody? Shane here with Vulgar Display Gaming, and today I'm joined by a special guest of Codie from Dungeon Crawl. How the hell are you doing?
Hey, I'm great. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. Super, stoked to be here. Like excited to talk about, about gaming and metal, everything.
Exactly, same here, same here. So I think it's safe to say you're the DM of this band.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, I've been working on it for so long. Probably close to 10 years now. And haven't been active the whole time. Obviously, really just kick things off probably early 2020, and then how that went with the whole pandemic. So definitely have been doing it for a while, like writing music at least, and just kind of we're trying to get out there now and finally let people hear us. So
So I know we were talking a bit earlier before I started this, but it's like I was telling you how, like, hey, I'm a nerd and I love metal, so I started Vulgar Display Gaming. And to that point, when did you initially want to draw your D&D experience and tabletop RPG passion to metal? You're like, I want to combine these, and bam, this is what you got.
that it was 2015, or maybe I guess maybe late 2014, when 5e came out, D&D 5th edition, for those who don't know. And they just came out with a new edition, I guess, but
It's like 5.5 or something.
5.5 basically. Yeah, 2024 edition.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, like before, for like when we first hopped on, it was 2015, my mom's garage.
Yep, same for me.
Yeah, dude, my buddy and I, Jared, we both got the player's handbook. And then I was DMing games with him, and a couple of our other friends, and we were just super hyped on it. Just really into it was just this it was I feel like it was sweeping the nation, because before with 4th edition and 3.5 and everything, it wasn't huge, but as soon
They
as
made it
5e.
Yeah, they made it more accessible. I feel.
Totally. Yeah. 5e came out, and then it was Critical Role, and then all these other huge media outlets were just putting out D&D products, and or just long form play videos and stuff like that, and people were it was popping off, and we were like, oh dude, this is like a cool, I feel like this would be a good opportunity to because I'd always kind of written music, but I don't really have much to say. I'm not a freaking I'm not an activist, and I don't hate the police, or maybe I should, but there's no political issues that I'm really strongly opinionated about. So I'm not out there trying.
You're I love nerd shit. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. I'm this is what I know the best, because I read when I was in high school, in the mid 2000s. I'm gonna date myself. I read all the not all of them, but I read a lot of the Forgotten Realms books by R.A. Salvatore. So the Drizzt series, and the Cleric Quintet and all those books and stuff like that, Brunor Battlehammer, and I was just I read it all, and then came to the realization after the fact that it was set in the fantasy world, where D&D, their main campaign setting, right? And then I was oh dude, I know all this stuff, and I've got a lot of context around the the world and the setting, and when 5e came out, it was just oh dude, we gotta we got something here, so let's just take it to the nth degree, and freaking kind of form a gimmick band. I mean, because I've talked to a couple people, and I've tried to get some feedback. I used to be pretty active on the Ailstorm.
I can love Ailstorm. They're always a fun time live.
Back in 2009, I think it was the ultimate Metal or something. Like they had like a forum, and Christopher Baus is like, he was really active on it, or he was like kind of active on it. And I remember asking him, I was like, oh dude, like how do you do this? And like, like just getting like some feedback from him. And he was like, oh dude, you gotta have a gimmick band or no one's gonna give a shit about your music. So
it definitely helps you stand out, because it's either you got to be insanely good at your instruments and write this insane, like virtuoso shit where everybody's like, oh wow, that's crazy, or you have to have something that makes you stand out, something recognizable. And going to that point, you guys even dress up like your characters for your adventuring party and all of that, so you're like, okay, let's just do that.
Exactly.
Let me basically tell a D&D campaign in the form of music.
yeah, dude, and that's like something I really want to do. I mean, there's definitely like each song on the album has like it's got its own story, right, like within itself. But I definitely want to have like a full length where it's just like a concept album.
Yeah,
like
I was gonna say, like, would you ever want to do kind of a narrative storytelling in your albums? Because I actually had a question. It says Maze Controller feels like it's a kind of a narrative to it, but it's more or less from both aspects, as the player and in game. Like kind of like that, because you have like +1 mace, you have like shit like that, and then you're telling a story like in the campaign, and then from the player's point of view, shit like that, But a full-on concept album would be great.
I would love to do something like that. Just pulling. I mean, I feel like it would have to be pretty, like concise.
There you go, your double LP. It's you're gonna be right in the wall,
Getting terminal redux, dude.
Exactly.
But
so just take your time with it. That's all I could say. Concept albums aren't done overnight.
No, not at all. And that's like one of the things too is with that idea, we're talking about we had like a module that went with it, where
that would be awesome. A little small box set game with a campaign to the album.
Yeah, dude,
that would be sweet.
Like, even if it was just like a pamphlet with some dice or something.
Dude, a one-page rules kind of thing, just like, hey, here's a one-page campaign. Here's, some creatures we made, shit like that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, adapt it to your own rule set, kind of thing. Yeah.
Hey, that'd be great. There you go.
Choice.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, going on to when we're talking about your narrative experiences and everything, how do you choose like what kind of factors from D&D or what kind of things you want to write about? How are you bringing in those experiences for people to enjoy?
Well, I think it's got to be like pretty I guess maybe like pretty familiar concepts, or just like maybe terms that like people have heard before, like to a degree. Like I don't want to get too like obscure or abstract, but
you don't want to pigeonhole yourself too much where you're like only hardcore nerds can like this shit.
Dude, exactly. So I mean, like we got like on the last record, it's like we got saving throw.
Everybody's heard that.
Yeah, exactly. A roll for initiative. On the first album, the intro is like choose your weapon. A lot of it is just like I guess maybe, I mean, there's like some experiences that I've had, like playing like we had like the first single that we put out ever was based on kind of like a one shot that I had done, and I guess that's probably the only time that I've really gotten into lore or actual, and even then I wasn't super descriptive like with the naming and all these other things. It was more so just like, oh, this is kind of like a story, like a linear story that the reader can follow. There weren't like any specific names or whatever like of like characters or anything like that, but I think like going back to trying to find finding concepts or ideas, it's like I said, just things that people would be familiar with, and also just things that I've like experienced in playing games or running games or whatever. And sometimes I'll go into like the glossary of like the like the handbooks and stuff and just look through, or like try to find spell names and cool sounding titles. Like I've taken some titles from some of the titles I've taken from like the 5th edition or handbook. There'll be like a sub title of like a monster description or something like that,
like flavor text, and you're like, oh
yeah, dude, yeah. Like there's a song "Echoes in the Dark" that we have on the first record, and that was taken from the 5e handbook. If you look at in the monster manual, like the Illithid description, it's got like a little, or I think it was either the Illithid or it was the Hook Horror, and it's got little flavor text. This is "Echoes in the Dark," and then it describes some stuff. And then I was like, oh, dude, that's my song about the Underdark. So,
there you go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. But it's crazy because D&D is like such a phenomenon now, because like I just saw the other day like a Time magazine had a D&D cover. It was pretty wild. I was like, what the hell?
Right.
Dude. So when you're going about making all this music, like you said, you don't want to pigeonhole too much, but you have such a wide variety and range of like influence as well. Because like I called out your Mortuous shirt, and then you're like, you got thrash metal influences, and then you're talking about Ailstorm. How did you try to narrow down like what your sound was? So you're like, all right, let's try to we got the nerdy concepts, and now let's try to make our sound somewhat more accessible to a wider audience as well within the metal community.
Sorry, my son.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, just
son's more important than this.
Yeah, no, dude. It's after like every interview I've done, he's come up here. What are you doing? Influences, like narrowing down kind of like the sound. Like we wanted to have something, unique and like an offering that's like just completely like it's familiar, but it's also like its own, like it stands on its own completely. And that's kind of like how like I started. It started as like a pure like thrash thing, but I mean it wasn't like your typical thrash. It had like a way more like melodic edge. Kind of like if you listen to like Artillery, that's like one of my biggest influences in like the thrash, sphere, like domain, right? Their album By Inheritance is like my favorite thrash record of all time. And it was like it had like a way more, like I said, melodic edge. And it was kind of just like like it was a good idea. We thought it was a good idea to incorporate like the symphonic elements and stuff like that, because our drummer and I both are like huge fans of Rhapsody.
Rhapsody of Fire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then myself, like Stradivarius. I don't know if you're familiar.
Hell yeah, Stradivarius is awesome too.
Yeah, dude. Like Timo Tolkki is like one of my favorite guitar players. So I feel like I've always written like power metal, I guess, like with the melodic sound, but like a way more aggressive version where like
and you have like harsher vocals, like more or less on like the kind of my biggest thing with metal is like subgenres and all that shit with like death thrash kind of vocals where it's like I don't know, anyway.
And I mean I can't sing for shit, so like it kind of has to be that way.
No, it works great. I love it. It definitely goes great with the music.
Thank you.
But now we talked about your we need a gimmick stuff, all of that. So when you dress up on stage, how did you guys go about making all your costumes and everything? Yeah, these are my old LARPing costumes. Are you do any of that stuff too?
Yeah, no, we never LARPed. It was kind of,
you're like, that's too much for me. Fireball,
dude.
Fireball.
Yeah, no, dude, or lightning bolt or magic
lightning bolt.
Lightning bolt. Yeah, that guy on YouTube. You know that video I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It was kind of just like we had we all got together and then came up with a concept kind of like in the room, I guess, and we were just like, okay guys, like let's figure something out. And like I think we were on Banger TV. Yeah, so they did like the Metal Monthly thing, and then they featured us,
Hell
and
yeah.
the dude, he was like, "Oh, look at these Timu ass costumes," like, and I'm like, okay, like, I wasn't mad about it because he praised the music, right? And then we got like a bunch of like sales from Canada, and I was like, okay, thanks, man. Because I guess they're Canadian, but yeah, like, it's kind of, I feel like it's still kind of like a work in progress. And we're getting, like I'm always looking for like pieces on Etsy or like, and like trying to find like, like small independent, like costume creators and stuff like that.
Hit up the Ren Fair, man.
Yeah, I know, man. Yeah, like,
or look, Halloween's coming up. After Halloween, hit up. You got Party City up there. Hit up Party City. All that
yeah,
shit will
yeah.
be. There you go.
I know, dude. Yeah, we got Party City.
There you
Spirit,
go. Hit up that. But no, you guys, costumes work in progress. Everything looks cool so far. I dig it.
Thanks, man.
Did you guys pick your roles? You're like, all right, I'm gonna dress up like a rogue. I think this is what a DM would look like, or I'll be.
Yeah, totally. I mean, well, that's like kind of the thing is like we have, there's 4 of us, so mine is like the dungeon master, the maze controller, because I don't want to get sued by Hasbro.
Right, that's why instead of dungeon master, it's maze controller. I was wondering that. I was like, maybe that's why they did maze controller.
Yeah, well, that's actually taken from the movie Mazes and Monsters. I don't know. If you've heard of it, yeah, but it was Tom Hanks's first movie. He was like 18 or whatever, and he like, it's satanic panic. He gets like overcome by like the urges, and he just like, he gets lost in his character, and but the character, like the DM in that is called the maze controller, and that's where we took it from. But yeah, I mean, like we have, so mine is like the maze controller, the orchestrator of all the things. Drummers like the wizard, and then our guitar players are like, I guess you could think of one as kind of like a thief, and then another as like the fighter, the warrior kind of. But yeah, I mean, we kind of, we're.
Did I just die?
Camera overheat or something like that.
Again, forgot we were using it last night. I had all that shit out, and I had like,
we just cut it.
Yeah, dude, I had like all this shit because I bring my full-on desktop to do shows. So like, we had all of this shit, dude. We had all this shit out there. It was a lot.
Crazy.
Yeah, and then like this camera, I forgot was like, it wasn't on battery, but like I think for a bit it was on battery, and I forgot to plug it back in.
Dude, there's so many moving parts. Like when you go, like we just did a show 2 or 3 days ago, and it was like, I organized it, and I just had like all these like, I was like, oh shit, dude, we gotta like take cabs, and I gotta take like my iPad like POS system, and
so do you do sound too?
No, we had a sign, we had a sound guy, but like I was selling tickets, and it was like, we gotta like, like our amps and merch, and like props, and like all, there's like so much shit, dude.
Well, if I can restart this and ask that question, because like, man, DIY till you die, right? Shit.
Yeah.
Okay. What were we talking about? I totally forgot. Your costumes. How you're going to Party City?
Yeah, and the roles.
Yeah.
Shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so what was the drummer? Was the wizard?
Yeah. So drummer is the wizard, and then we have like the guitar players, and they're like I was saying, you could probably think of one as like a thief, like rogue, and then a fighter type character, and then I'm the maze controller. So
hell yeah. And to that point too, real quick, I'll cut this out so I don't look like an idiot too. Are you you're playing bass right now, right? You're not playing guitars anymore?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, swap the strings.
You're like 4 is better than 6. It's easier. Especially when you're singing. Shit.
Yeah, exactly. That was the whole point.
Because it's different tracking guitars in the studio as opposed to like, oh shit, I gotta play and sing.
Mm-hmm. Dude, yeah. Like, just, I mean, because, we're doing like 16th notes at like, 200 beats per minute.
Yeah.
for like almost every song, and it's just like, I'm like, okay, if I can cut it down, um, I know I'm not gonna do it like the whole time, but like, when I'm doing the vocals, it's like I have parts where I'm just like holding out like, like a whole note, or I'm doing like eighth notes or whatever, so it's like it's so, and like I don't have to match another guitar, right, where I'm like, trying to play like in sync. And two, like, like people's ears are, like not amazing when it comes to the low end frequencies, so it's like, I can kind of fuck up shit and it'll be okay.
Exactly. It's not
Yeah.
like you're playing the bass like Lemmy did, where it's
No,
like
yeah.
right out in front,
No, yeah, dude. Or I'm like some of these crazy, like, like Jeff Hugel, or like I don't know, like can't think of any other like crazy bassists right now off the top of my
Anyway,
head, but like,
yeah.
yeah.
But also, I wanted to say, we totally forgot to say, I wanted to congratulate you on your second full length Maze
you.
controller. That's what we've been talking about this whole time, and I forgot I should have mentioned that earlier. But
No, dude, no, yeah.
and you also just played. Well, this, I don't know when this has come out yet. I gotta edit this. We got a lot of shit to do. You just recently did your record release show, and we were just talking about like how much of a pain in the ass it was, because you DIY till you die. Like you had to do all of that shit.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, it was, we did it. It was September 27th, and it was a lot of fun. It was like a really good turnout. Like, thank you to everyone who came. Anyone watching this, it's like we had kick ass, like a whole bunch of like all the bands were sick. But it was just like the whole organizing of it. It was like, I work full time, and then I got kids and I'm married. Trying to write music still, and like practice. But it's like I was like, oh dude, like I gotta figure out how to do the ticket sales, because I've never done anything like this before, and I'd never done anything like that before, and it was, figuring out the ticket sales, like figuring out how to do pre-sale, like making sure I have enough change for like people who are paying with cash, and like for the merch booth, and like getting all the merch to the venue, and getting all the equipment to the venue, and like backlining the cabs, and finding a sound guy, and finding a venue, and like it was it was a lot, but I feel like it went off without hitch though. So
Hey, that's great though. I mean, hey, you gotta. That's the hard part about being in a band now. You have to do you wear so many hats at the same time.
Dude.
You have to do your own marketing now, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, promoting it too. I was like driving up. I mean, I'm like 40 minutes out of San Francisco, but I was like on the weekend going up the peninsula and like putting flyers everywhere, going to shows. And, like,
Hell yeah,
flyers.
still hitting it old school.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then also like trying to like do the social media marketing, like promoting and all that stuff too. So yeah, it was. But it's behind me now, and
There you go. Now you're like, I don't know if I want to do this again.
Yeah,
so everybody,
dude.
please buy a Maze controller so I don't
dude.
have to do this again.
Or just book me.
Yeah,
on your show
just book me on your show and we'll be good. You figure out the rest. But speaking of old school flyering, your artwork is awesome. I love the art. You want to talk about how you guys got the art and came up with the concepts for that? Who did the art? All that stuff. I love album art. If you have good album art, you have good merch. I'm a sucker for it.
Yeah, me too, man. Like, I mean, this is like, case in point, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
The new Gate Creeper shirts are sick.
Yeah.
Like, I love this
Dude.
shit.
Yeah, I mean, just like I'm a millennial, so I'm like a sucker for branding. So
Same here.
yeah. But yeah, dude, like, just it was James Bausema. He like a super cool guy. He's out of Las Vegas. He worked at his first like big piece was with Municipal Waste.
Hell yeah.
22, I think. Electrified Brain. And I saw it, and like I hadn't heard of him before, but I saw it and I was like, oh, this is like mind blowing. And it was like, kind of, like the guy on the covers getting his brain stabbed with a guitar, like electrified. So yeah, it was just like, like he captures like the old school vibe really well of like, like old school box art and stuff, but it's got like a modern, flair to it. And I reached out to him, and he was just like super cool, really easy to work with, and like I talked to him on Zoom, and we agreed. Like it was like, okay, well, like I had the song Maze Controller, and most of the album was like written already, right at that point. And this was like October or maybe September of 2022. So it took a while for it to come out, but he finished it, and I was like, okay, man, we're gonna get it out there eventually. I'm sorry to keep you waiting, but yeah, he was super cool. But I had the song Maze Controller, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be the title track, because that was the only track on the demo that I put out that we didn't use on the first album. And I was like, okay, well, it's gonna be like this huge thing. We kind of want to have like a dungeon master type looking dude who's like overseeing like a maze or like a labyrinth, and then he had 3 designs, like concepts that he sent me, just like rough drafts, and then or sketches, and then he there was one of them was like the cosmic dungeon master in space over the lab, and I was like, this is insane, dude. So yeah, we went with it, and then it ended up being like just this amazing piece, and he was like stoked on it. He said, this is like my favorite thing I've ever done. I'm like, dude, yeah.
Hey, that's what drew me to you guys, to be honest. Like I got
Thanks, man.
I got the promo copy of the album. I was like, whoa, this shit's awesome. How come I've never heard of you guys before?
Yeah.
And then y'all started popping up in like my algorithms and all the shit, and I was like, their art's cool. This is totally up my alley. Like,
thank you.
And we go back to it too. Gimmicks work, branding works. Like you need something for hell, this is to anybody who's in a band watching this right now. You can attest to this. You need something for people to identify you. You can have killer music, but you need either good art or some kind of theme to go along with it nowadays. Because I mean, like we were talking about Ailstorm. It's easy. Pirate metal, dungeon crawl, D&D metal, nerd metal, like whatever but and it's like not like you're getting pigeonholed too, like you said, because some of the songs are like kind of like a narrative story kind of telling, and then you have some D&D references, but it's like all really surface level references that anybody has heard anything about D&D they'll pick up.
Yeah, and like I mean, dude, Ailstorm has 7 albums about pirates. And like, I can stretch it.
You can stretch D&D. This shit's been around for almost it's 50 years now. So this this year is 50 years. So you can stretch it for a very long time.
Yeah, dude. And there's so much to it too. Like this is
so much lore. You can make up your own shit. Like
exactly. Yeah.
And now when we're talking about Maze Control, we talked about the art. Now we want to talk about the sound. How was it working with Zach at Castle Ultimate Studios? What influence did he give you guys on the final product?
Yeah, so he did the mix and the master, and so we actually, I mean, like we didn't actually like. I mean, he definitely he polished it, made it sound like incredible, and like just really have that sound that I was already looking for, because I knew the work he had done with previous bands like Ex Mortis, and he's done like 2 Warbringer albums, and
hell yeah,
like I think he did a Gamma Bomb album, and like all these other sick records, and I was like, okay, so
that's the guy, that's the sound you want. He knows his work.
Yeah, exactly. So it was kind of like a no-brainer. But we recorded all the stuff, like our drummer and I, we recorded everything in house. So like I recorded the guitars and the bass and the vocals here actually.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but it was just like the DI, right, for the guitars and the bass, and then Zach he reamped them, and then got a good tone, and then our drummer and I we recorded his drums in our studio that we rent out in San Jose. But yeah, I mean, like working with Zach was cool. Like he's like really like really flexible, and he's always doing like some crazy stuff. Like he was filling in, like when I first reached out to him to do it, he was like filling in for Machine Head on bass.
Damn.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, rock star, like like
super
they were
busy.
they were opening for Guns N' Roses in like Mexico City or something. Okay. That's insane. But he came back, and then he um okay, like let's get it done. And then yeah, I think like the mixing process was probably like a few weeks of just like like it wasn't like constant like sending back and forth notes. It was just like, okay, well, like take this, listen to this for like like a couple days, and then like send me some notes. And then it was like turn around, and he was like really easy to work with, and like made adjustments super fast and stuff. So awesome dude. And like everyone all around, it's been like like a huge pleasure to work with. So yeah.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to start wrapping all of this up because we've talked about
Yeah.
everything, influences, we talked about your sound, all of that shit. To the point we've been making, a lot of this stuff for now, when you want to make music, it's a lot harder now because you're in such a big space, with the internet. It's a blessing and a curse,
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
So to that point, like you were saying, DIY shit, all of that stuff. Do you have any advice you'd give to anybody trying to make music while they're working full time, while they're doing all of this? What's been your motivating factor to keep you going through all this?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's always, I guess like it's kind of hard to like give advice if somebody's trying to
It's all different. Everybody's in different situations, so yeah.
It's hard to give advice if somebody's trying like from like a personal standpoint. If somebody's trying to do it for like monetary reasons, I guess,
That's
like,
never gonna work.
Yeah, dude, exactly. Like it's like
we do this
like
because
said,
you love this shit, man.
yeah, and that's the point. It's like I do it because it's like a creative outlet, and then like I just want to have like a little bit of a legacy, right? To like I guess look back on and then like pass down. But yeah, I mean the motivating factor is just like I like sweet music, and I want to I want people to hear it, and I kind of want to make connections with people. Like all the people that I've met doing this so far, like they've just been like the overwhelming majority have been like really amazing people. Even like just random strangers on the internet who message me, were like, oh dude, love your music. I've made like connections with like a bunch of people who are like I would consider friends now, who just like reached out and were like, oh dude, music's sick. We talk about D&D, and like they've asked me about like advice for making music. And I guess like when it comes down to the advice, it's like don't give up. And just kind of, I guess, put as much as you want into it, and don't expect like overnight success. Obviously, I wouldn't even take us as like a successful band, but like I think we're starting to see some numbers and stuff, but we're not at the point where like I feel like it's like I'm like never satisfied. It's like, oh, dude,
Nobody is,
watch number go up, and it's like, oh, the number's still not where I want it to be. Like, make it go higher, kind of situation.
Yeah, in the end, like you said, if you're not happy with your art you're creating and you're just doing it for monetary purposes, like it ain't gonna go nowhere. You have to make music and art for yourself first of all,
Yeah, and that's what I would say. Just do it for yourself. Like just try to DIY as much as you can. Like like if you're like strapped for cash, it's like there's so many good resources out there for like learning how to record guitars at home, and like even using like when I started, I used like a drum machine, right? Like the first demo that we did was just the drum machine, because I didn't know any drummers, or I did, but it was like, oh, they're all doing their own shit, and it's like I mean that dude Hellripper, James McBain,
it's great. Yeah,
drum machine.
I
Like,
know
every one of his releases is a drum, and it's like a free one too. So
it's wild what you can do at home now. It's insane.
Yeah, totally, man. And he's using, like, I've seen footage of him using like recording vocals, and it's like a cheap, shitty, like $50 mic that he's had forever. And I'm like, okay, you don't need
these.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
what we got.
Yeah, right. Like, just like know the basics, like the foundational stuff. Like,
Just don't. Yeah.
Don't clip. Don't
Yeah.
make sure your audio is not clipping.
Exactly.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, and no matter what, just like you said, keep going to keep going to local shows, make those connections,
Dude, yeah.
make friends. That's only gonna help in this scene, and keep this going. You know, never give up.
Dude, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just so many doors have opened just by meeting people, you know, going to shows
And that's what you got to do. But what else you guys got coming down the pipeline? Any shows coming up that you could talk about yet? You planning some things? You're already working on the next album. You got a concept album going. You know, you're opening up for Metallica next year. What else is happening?
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm putting it out there.
Metallica's open for us. No,
Metallica's opening up for Dungeon Crawl. Okay.
Yeah. No. Yeah, we're you know definitely working on the next record. Have like maybe like 5 or 6 like songs that are like in the early stages already. And then we're playing in October. Or I guess maybe when this comes out, it'll be October. But yeah, October 25th with a band of orcs. War Troll, and then System of a Down cover band. Yeah,
is it System of a Clown?
Yeah.
I've seen those guys before.
Nice. Yeah. It's like
they're
Halloween
cool though. They're
style.
cool. Hell yeah. You guys fit right in. There you go. It's at the Party City, right?
Yeah, exactly. In Santa Cruz.
Yeah. No, so this show's gonna be at Santa Cruz. What venue? All that, because this will definitely be out before then.
Cool. Yeah. At the Vets Hall. And then we don't have any other plans like for shows like solidified yet, but we're working on something hopefully for January.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and you know maybe hopefully out of town. So you know,
there you go.
People out there want to see this.
Brother, it's been an absolute pleasure nerding out with you, talking all things nerdy and heavy metal stuff. Everybody please go pick out Maze Controller. It's out now. Stream it on all the platforms. Follow them on all the social shit. I hate all that stuff. I'm terrible at it myself, but go follow them and do all of that. Until next time, I hope to see you in person sometime when you guys come down to my neck of the woods. Until next time, everybody, check out Dungeon Crawl. Later.
Sick.